the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic. Basically, from what I understand, an epidemic is when a disease or virus spreads throughout one local community or one country, or maybe even a few countries within the same continent or same region of the world. That's an epidemic. But when it's a pandemic, the virus gets overseas to other countries. Basically, if people carry the disease on an airplane or boat and go to a far away continent, and then the disease spreads on that continent, then it turns into a pandemic. I've seen different definitions on both words. I guess the basic rule is that if three or more countries have the disease spreading, then it's a pandemic. If it's one or two countries, it's an epidemic. But that's a very standard definition. I think it's more about how far it spreads, because right now this recent virus, it's in China, Japan, South Korea, but they still call it an epidemic. But now that it's in the United States, it's suddenly becoming a pandemic. So that's why I'm not sure if it's, since it's in China, South Korea, and Japan, why isn't it a pandemic? Because those are three different countries, but they're still calling it an epidemic, even though it's in three countries. So it seems like once it reaches us in the United States, then it suddenly becomes a pandemic. I don't know. But, yeah, it is what it is. It's also in Canada. I think it's in certain countries in Africa, too. Basically, it's in every continent except Antarctica. So I guess that would qualify as pandemic, right? Yeah. I think it also means how many people are affected too, because they're still debating on whether to call it a pandemic, even though people are starting to get infected in the United States. So I'd say it's a pandemic. I'm gonna go with pandemic on this one. But yeah, so epidemic is when it spreads throughout one region or one country, or maybe two countries. Pandemic is when it's more than two countries. That's my definition of it. Take it or leave it. Anyway, stay safe and hope for the best. All right, subscribe. Thanks.